Very good. Uh, Guys, do you have any questions regarding previous session? Surprise. Sorry, guys. Hope you don't have any questions. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, Venkat. Okay, fine.
Thank you, guys. Today we are going to discuss about Mule expression. So that is a Mule expression language. So the purpose of the Mule expression language is how to communicate between the message process. So we in the previous sessions we discussed about the many message process, right? So we already uh, about the syntax of the payload, how to fetch the payload, how to fetch the message properties also we seen actually query parameters and URL parameters. So using this Mel, we have to communicate between the message process using that specific language actually. So before Mel expression, so how in the MuleSoft, how people communicate between these message process. So why they introducing this Mel expression language? So before introducing Mel expression language, so people will communicate between these message process based on the Java language, guys. So in the Java, there is a concept called JSP, Java Server Pages. This is the concept actually. So maybe if you are aware about that, so with the JSP, how will fetch that objects and all? Suppose so JSP in the sense we have to design the look and feel of the page, and we have to populate the data into the page actually. Suppose a requirement is we need to fetch the data from the database. So from the database, suppose we are getting some employee object, right? So from the employee object, so employee table contains name, something salary and designation. So these are all the fields under employee object. So we need to fetch the employee object, and then we need to take the each field we need to populate into the page actually. So in Java server pages in the JSP, how we'll do it? So there is an object. Object is nothing but here there is employee object. So for pulling this employee object, we have to write the Java code, right? So in the backend, we have to write the Java code. So that object will share to the JSP. In the JSP, we have to keep it like a dot, employee dot, the name, employee dot age, employee dot salary. So like that, we'll fetch it, and then we have to populate into the JSP page. So that way we have to do in the JSP, guys. Hope you guys are clear. In the Java, so there is a concept called JSP. What I'm trying to say about the history of Mule Expression Language. So why they introduce, and then before Mule Expression, how people are communicate between the message process. Here, you're writing the flows, you need to push the data from, according to event-driven architecture, automatically flow will go. But so we have to receive the data from the previous message processor. No? So that's why you have to use the Mel expression language. So before introducing Mel expression language, so people are using Java technology. okay, to communicate between the message process. So because I already told you, right, so these are all components, so built in by using Java only, so that's why it will support the Java syntax also. Okay, so similarly, based on the JSP technology, so they introduce a Mel expression language, Mel expression language. So now we are using Mel expression language. We are communicate between the message process. So why they introducing first of all? If you go for already Java technology is there, people are using Java. So then why they introducing Mel expression language? So in the Java, for every component, for every message processor communicating, so there is no proper built-in object is not there, guys. For most of them, we have a built-in object in Java, but 100% for everything, there is no built-in class, right? So what we need to do, so we have to write a code, then accordingly we have to write the complete logic, then we have to get it, right? So that's why, so these people are, uh, so in place of Java, they introduce a Mel expression language. So here, so we have a several context objects actually. Based on that context object, so we have to fetch that particular value, whatever the value in the previous message processor, right? We have to receive that based on the Mel expression language. That was the history of that Mel expression language, guys. But based on the Java syntax only, we are writing here Mel expression language. Okay. So here I just now discussed about the context object. So what is meant by context object here? So we have a several context objects, guys. Here there is a server, mule, app, message. These are all built-in classes actually. So if you see here server, under that server we can able to get hardware information of your machine, operating system of your machine, and the network interfaces of your machine actually. Suppose I want to know the current time, right? So current time I want to know server. So whatever the server location, right? Maybe it's a different location. The server is available, right? I want to know particular time zone or else server time. So simply you can keep it a server dot now, or else if you want to UTC or else some other ISD, if you want a specific time zone, so it will support actually that syntax it will support. Similarly, Mule. So Mule is when you will go for Mule, how it will syntax. Already yesterday we seen, guys. This is the syntax actually. Hash. It should start with hash and then square bracket. That context object actually. Whatever the context object. Suppose I told you message is also one of the context object. So most of the inbound properties or else outbound properties or else payload. So most of these information are available in under message. Okay, that is one of the context object. So here I mention. So here I mention inbound properties under message object. Okay, and then there is another context object called mule. So it will tell us the instance, the particular instance information if you want. So you have to use mule dot. Okay, so that is also one of the context object. So next one is app. So app. So this is also give some of the fields. Uh, uh, that particular object app also one of the object actually it will give some information about that if you keep the app dot if you keep the app dot properties we can get that particular information about the particular that app whatever you are running current app, so that app information it will give. And then message, so this message contains more fields actually like inbound properties, outbound properties, and payload information, everything is there under message object, guys. If you see the diagrammatical representation of that, so well expression of contact object. So this is a diagrammatical representation. So hope you can see the screen. So see here, there is a indicate an expression. So hash square bracket message dot id. So the message is nothing but a context object here. Whatever we discussed, several context object, right? Server, mule, app, and the another one is message. So that is nothing but a context object. And one dot id. So dot is nothing but, so this syntax is coming back from the JSP, guys. Just now we discussed about the JSP thing. So from the object you are getting, so based on the dot actually, whatever the fields available in that particular object, so we'll get that. So here also same thing. So message is an object. Under that, so whatever the fields are available, right? So dot id or else dot payload. We can write. So yesterday we wrote hash square bracket the payload we written actually. You can write message dot payload also. So it is a part of the message only. We'll see the message structure also, what it contains exactly. So that is about the diagrammatical representation of the context object. And then, so if we want, apart from the context objects, I want to load the variables. How can I load the variables? So previously I defined some variables in my flow. I want to load the variables. How can I load the variables? So we seen yesterday, so three types of variables: session variables, and then normal flow variables, and record variables, right? Three variables. So if you want to load any variable, the syntax is, so this is a syntax, guys. Flowwares dot that particular variable name actually, whatever the variable you want to load it. So if you define in the earlier, right? So that this way you have to load it actually. Or else if it is a flowwares, then you can write it as a flowwares dot particular variable. If it is a session vars, so same syntax, guys. That is hash square bracket and then session vars. Observe the second letter, second word, it should be capital actually. It's almost it was following the naming conventions of Java only. You see Java, how we'll write the methods and how we'll write the variables. It's like a second word will start with a capital letter. No? So here also same thing. Flow var start. When you keep the flow vars, if you keep the dot, so whatever the variables are available in the previous step, previous message processor, it will show us actual list of variables. Accordingly, we can choose it. So this is a way to communicate the with variables information, guys. And then if you want to check the null syntax also, you can check it. Actually, this is a way you can check the null values, whatever the context object. So dot, it's like a ternary operator, guys. So ternary operator in the sense, it's like a if-else kind of thing, right? So three operators will be there. If the condition is true, so then suppose we'll write a condition here. Condition is true, then do this. So do this, or do something else. Like that we can keep it, right? We'll write this, or else we'll write this. So if the condition is true, so then do this, or else do this. So this kind of operation is nothing but a ternary operator here. So because three things are there here, so question mark, after question mark there is a positive. If the condition is true, it will display here. If the condition is false, then it will display this one. So similarly here, so based on that only they implement this. So this is the syntax: hash square bracket context object dot field A. So field A. So means what? So is the field A is an object. Under that there is an object B. So is null or not? We are checking Excel. Actually, this is a way to check the null or not. Okay. So there is we can use the empty keyword also, guys. Empty keyword also it will support here. We'll see those all these example. So next one is we see this already, a session where dot this, and then so bracket syntax. So this we already aware it actually. So if it is a map, guys, if it is a map, suppose whatever you are fetching the previous data in the form of map, in the sense, it's like a key value pairs, guys. Map is nothing but this is one of the object in the collection object in the Java. So map is nothing but it's a key value pair. It contains two values, key and then value. It is nothing but a map actually. Suppose I have a multiple records there in the map. Okay, it's nothing but an array list kind of thing. So if you want to fetch particular record, suppose I have a 10 records, I want to fetch only the fifth record, right? So then we have to keep it that particular. First, we have to fetch the size also actually. So based on the size, so which we have to pass the index, which one you have to fetch it, then you have to keep it actually. Payload of 5. So why? Because here payload is in the form of map, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3 like that indexes will be there. So then accordingly we have to fetch the fifth record. So that is the thing about that map related. Even here, so uh, like this also you can get it actually keys dot key name actually. If it is a map, right? So the data is in the map format, key value place format. You can fetch that actually. Means in the previous variable, the data in the form of map, then you can fetch it actually. Flow var start. So keys of that key name, whatever the key name it is, then you can get it actually. Just now we discussed about key value, right? If you pass the key name, then we'll get that particular key name actually, right? So that is the way. Um, so almost all the message process it will support Mule expression language, guys. Okay. Hope you guys are clear. So we'll see the one by one example on the Mule expression language, and I will show in the debug mode. So I will frame the syntax also. So generally, if you are familiar with this Mel expression language, you can write directly the code in the message processor. If you are not, I mean, in starting time, if you're not familiar with that, so then in the mail debug it will support us, guys. We seen also yesterday. The mail evaluate expression window is there. Using that window, we will prepare the proper syntax in the Mule evaluate expression language will take the syntax and then will put into the particular component wherever you want to put it. So we'll put it and we'll execute accordingly. So that's all, guys. So any questions as of now? So if you guys are clear, so let's see. We'll execute one by one. And guys, here I put in multiple examples here. So the first one is HTTP connected. You already aware about that. I will just explore more things on the HTTP connector here. So here we seen only so how to add the host port and base path. So we discussed already about the base path also, and then path we seen. Path is a mandatory field. Apart from that, if you see in the bottom, there is a response setting, status code and reason. We can add this one also, guys, or else we can disable this status code and reason in the sense. So we seen the yesterday we tried to execute some of them in the postman, right? So in the postman you can see clearly how much time it was taking for execution, what was the status code it is giving, right? If it is a success it will give 200 plus, guys, remember. So if it is a success, right, it will give the 200 plus 201, 202 and 200. 200 is nothing but 200, 201 is nothing but a success, 202 is nothing but. So if we redirect, do you remember uh, somebody was asking a question about the example about the asynchronous. When you go for asynchronous, we'll give a 202 action. That is a status code of that. So all 200 plus is nothing but it's a success. Suppose we are getting a 400 plus, like 400, 401, 402, 403 like that. So then it is nothing but a bad request, or it's a client side issue actually. Client side in the sense we are requesting consumer, nothing but a consumer, who you are requesting. So they are doing something wrong actually. So that is nothing but a I mean 400 status code is nothing but a bad request from the client actually. So that's what I'm talking to here actually. Status code in the sense 200, 400, and 500 also. 500 in the sense it's server side issue. Server side in the sense, so we are talking to target system. So target system may be down, or else maybe some other issue. So then it will give the 500 plus 500, 501, 502 like that. So hope you guys are clear. So we'll see when we are facing some issues, we'll see that 400 plus that thing. But so if you are running your application in uh, browser, you can't able to see that information, but in the console you can see that. So what error you are getting. So if you want to see that such kind of errors, then we have to execute that request through Postman. Then you can see. So that is about I'm talking status code. If you keep the status code and reason, you can keep it. If you don't want, you can disable the properties. Apart from that, there is a header, guys. Add header. So what is the use of this add header? In sometimes you can see here in the Postman client. So there is many options here. Authorization. So as of now, there is no authorization. I am not choosing any authorization. It will support these many operations. There is no authorization, basic authorization, digest operation, OAuth 2, OAuth 1.0, many operations it will support. Suppose we are not at all done this, we are not exposed with security actually. Without security, you are exposing, right? Everybody can consume if they're aware about the if they're aware about the URL, right? So suppose here I'm trying to expose as a greeting flow one exposed as a REST API. If they're aware about the URL of that, then they can consume it actually. We are not restricting anybody. If you want to restrict it, so then you have to implement a proxy layer. So we'll discuss that later actually. So if you implement a proxy layer that time, so the authentication will come into the picture. So first they have to authorize, right? They have to authenticate it first. Once you authenticate it, so the client, so once he will authenticate it, then that time only he can able to consume my service actually. So that type of things also can pass it. Apart from that, there is one more. There is authorization. There is a header. One more header. So in the header, so suppose if you see, we are sending the data. We are sending the data. Uh, so in the body actually, so whatever you are sending, so if you see this request uh, in the body, we are sending some data here. Apart from that, so suppose our target system guy or else Mule will expect the data in the header, right? So that time, so guys, somebody are charting, I guess. Can you, if you want, can do personally chart it now, so getting everybody, I guess. Vishwan was saying first 2 days he is a little slow. I don't think so. He's going to be the same. Guys, please
Sorry,
tell me.
Venkat, that was me.
That's fine. That's fine. No, that's fine.
Sorry.
You can chart actually. I don't want to stop it actually. You can chart personally. Getting everyone happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Getting
I
alerts
okay.
also. Alerts also. Because this is going to
Oh,
be recorded now. So that's why. I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to start to chart it actually. You can chart it. So, but do personally. Private option is there. You can do it.
Okay, okay.
So guys here, if you have any questions, you can so directly ask me. Then actually here in our session, most of the people are migrated from one technology and to another technology actually. So non-programmers also there sometime actually. So that's why I will concentrate on these people also actually. So that's why maybe first few days, whatever you are saying, first few days will go. they have to understand the things actually. They have to understand that they have to familiar with any point studio, right? So we are not writing any code here as of now. So I mean, most of the complete project also 80% without code we can do it actually. Only simple configuration. So in worst cases, in worst scenarios, we have to write that some transformers. So that also it's a simple snippet only. So that's why I'm going a little bit slow. First, they have to understand actually. Once they are familiar with that, once they will practice it properly, then they will come up with speed. And so we'll go a little bit speed if you want. So that's fine, guys. So any questions, guys? Are you guys following? Um, Raju.
Yeah, it's clear, Venkat, for me.
Thank you. Raju, are you following?
Yeah,
Hello, Raju.
yeah, it's clear.
Okay, so coming back to here. Okay, so here there is a add header, guys. So hope you're getting. So why you use header here? Sometimes consumer or else target system. Suppose the MuleSoft itself, or else from the MuleSoft we are talking to somebody else, right? The target system. So if they will expect some header, right? Think like this. The generally tokens, the security tokens will expect through headers only. So that time, if you want to send any header, so then we can keep it in the header location. So we'll read that. If you see here, the header is coming like application slash XML. Whatever you are adding, this is nothing but XML data actually. So the content type is coming in the header actually. If you want to send in the next level also, if you want to use similar way, you can add here also actually header concept. Add header is there. If you click add header, it will come like this actually. You can add it. So whatever the header you want, whatever the value you want, you can add it. So that is about the HTTP connector. And then this is a inbound connector actually. So in outbound connector also we have a add header, add query parameter, add URI parameter. I mean in the header only you can choose it actually. In the drop down you can choose it. All these things. We'll see that when you are trying to talk with any other third party, that time I'll show you. So that is about the HTTP connector. And then set payload, guys. Here, so this already we seen yesterday, but still I'm trying to show once again. So here, what I'm trying to do it, just now we discussed about the context object, right? So message, right? Message dot inbound properties. So we have a several inbound properties. Out of several inbound properties, so we are fetching only query parameters. See the syntax as HTTP dot query params. Out of HTTP query params, we are trying to fetch only username. Actually, this is the Mule Expression Language file. If you want to hard code anything, we can directly keep it. I'm just fetching the username from the URL, and I'm trying to append to the hello word action. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So maybe it's not required to execute. So you already aware about that. I'm going to second one. So next one is here I'm trying to explore about the choice component, guys. So uh, here is the choice component. If you try to search for choice, we'll get two things. One is choice, another one choice exception strategy. Choice exception strategy is different, guys. For exception handling, we'll use it. So as of now, we are explore about the choice component. So this is nothing but a routing, guys. So in any language we have a if else concept is that, right? If the condition is true, do something else, do something else, right? So that kind of routing, so will provide this choice component, guys. So this is a choice component. I'm trying to open the configuration of the choice component. So when you're trying to drag and drop it, I will try to drag and drop freshly. I will drag and drop the choice component here. So if you try to drag and drop the choice component, observe here, so nothing is there inside first time. So nothing is there inside first time when no route message to. So if you keep something here, I'll just drag and drop the logger here. So I'll just drag and drop logger here. Observe here there is a default. Don't get confused, guys. Choice. There is a choice just for explain purpose. I drag and drop one more choice under choice. Actually, you can drag outside also. No issue on that. So in the choice, observe here now. So previously it's not showing like this, only when it was showing. When I was drag and drop that logger, right, it was showing that text field here. Here we can write the syntax actually. So whatever the syntax we want to write it, so that hash syntax, right, we can show that syntax, anything. So if you want to fetch the message properties, you can keep it. Also, if you want to payload, you can keep it. So that condition part you can keep it actually. So right, if the condition is true, where it will go? It will go to logger, else it will go to the default. Okay, that is the choice configuration look like. Just keep the control jet. Okay, now I'll show you the condition. So choice, I'm just opening the choice. So now see the syntax, guys. In while explaining the Mule expression, just talk about the empty also, right? Empty also it will support, guys. Not null, empty, these are all it will support. What I wrote here, message dot message is in a contact object. Under that there is inbound properties. So out of inbound properties, looking for only query parameters. Under that query parameters, there is a chance to get multiple query parameters, but I want to check only username. If the condition is equal to empty, so means, so if we are not getting any username, so then what I'm trying to do is set the payload for invalid username. So this is the name of the payload. This is the name of the payload. Name of the payload in the sense, it's a display name of the payload. Observe here, display name of the payload actually. And then if the false, then what I wrote here, the default is nothing but whatever the cases apart from this condition is fails, so then other cases it will give set a payload for invalid username. So that's what I wrote here. So when you will go for choice generally, so these kind of routing parts, guys, based on the condition you need to route it. Suppose for example, I'm trying to create an opportunity. Uh, I'm trying to create an opportunity in the Salesforce. In the sense, suppose here there is a some front end PHP guy want to create an opportunity, or else any front end AngularJS or else Node.js or else any other front end technology. So we'll talk to MuleSoft. So MuleSoft. So from the MuleSoft, they want to create it. So via MuleSoft, they want to create a opportunity. I'm just keep OT under SFTC, Salesforce, right? So they want to create an opportunity, right? So here in the Mule, we have a three APIs are there. One is create opportunity, another one is update opportunity, another one is some delete opportunity. So here, based on the routing, so then it will redirect to that particular flow. Hope you are getting what I'm trying to say. So PHP guy is trying to create an opportunity. If suppose it's a create, he is calling create. So what will do? So in the MuleSoft, we have to route it actually accordingly, right? In the MuleSoft, we have to check it, whatever the information, we can read the, we seen actually yesterday in the inbound properties, uh, we can read the address also, right? Hope you are getting. So address, we can read it actually, HTTP dot path, we can read it, base path, we can read it. So like that, we can read that via Mule expression language. We can read that either he was requesting for create or else update or else delete. So that we can read it in the MuleSoft and we can write the condition actually. So that time, so here only one condition is checking. If the condition is true, it will go first level or else it will go default. You can check many conditions here. There is no restriction here. It's kind of, in the other technologies will write a else if also. If condition is true, do something. Else if, again you will write the condition, do something. Else if that condition is told do something, right? That kind of else if. So here also you can keep if you drag and drop one more component in the middle, you can write that condition actually. So these kind of I just gave one scenario. Similarly, so many scenario where we require really routing part. So then that time we go for choice component. Hope you are getting what was the purpose of this. I will just quickly execute this. I'll just put a toggle breakpoint here. I will just execute this choice component. Okay, so we are in a debug mode. So null payload. As of now, you can see the inbound properties, whatever the condition we are checking here, right? So mule design, that time only you can see this. Just copy this or else prepare in the debug mode actually. Prepare in the mule evaluate expression language. So click x plus y equal to question mark, and then you can expand this one also. If you want to expand, you can expand this. And then paste, I just paste that. I'll just remove this because that is already there. The square bracket and all. And just observe here guys, true. HTTP query params dot username equal to empty. So means I'm not sending any query parameters. That's why it's a true. I'll just remove this. See here, I'm not passing anything actually. So that's why it's become true. If it is a true empty, so where it will go? It will go to the upper, I guess. See this, it will go to upper. So then whatever you written inside, I wrote like that name. I read it actually. See, no username provided. I put a no username provided within a single quotes under. Observe here. If you keep outside also with it without hash and square bracket, or else if you keep like this also, it is nothing but a hard coded only. So I'll just click a resume or as effect. You can see in the uh, Postman client, no username provided. Suppose I will pass the username, other case also will check it. Username is a query parameters, something new I am passing here. Just click the send button. Let's see. I'll just click the something else. Observe here. Now I'm passing the value. So that's why it's coming like this. So hope you are clear about the choice component. Whenever is really required routing guys, you can go for this. The next one is I'm trying to introduce new message processor in the each flow guys. So hope you guys are clear. So next one is there is an expression guys. I'm trying to introduce an expression. So when you will go for expression, it will support the Java snippet also guys. If you want to write the Java snippet, Java code, it will support the expression component. Here, just search for expression. Here is an expression. You can see multiple expressions here. I will tell you the difference. So whatever middle one I drag, whatever I used it. So there's a middle one. So it will support Java snippet first thing. Another one is on fly if you want to create a variables. Generally, yesterday we created a variable using set variable, right? If you create a set variable, if you want to remove a variable, you can drag and drop that set variable. That particular variable you can create it or else you can remove it, right? So on fly, I want to create some variable, or else I want to write some small snippet, or else I want to create some dates, or else I want to fetch the current date kind of thing. So you can use this expression, right? So here it will give a text area. So that's why big text area is there. If you want to write, you can write it here. All. So here what I'm trying to do it here, I'm just observe here guys. There is an exceptional case here. So generally, according to Mule expression language, it should be in the square bracket, right? Hash or square bracket. It should be in the square bracket. So there is a two things actually. Here is one thing. Another one is there is one more transform. There is a transform is one more component. So there is an important one. So for transforming data one format into another format, for assigning data, for mapping data will is a transform. So in the transform also, you know, no need to keep the dash and square bracket actually, right? So that's why here I'm not keeping any hash and square bracket here. Whatever the username you are entering in the URL, it will receive it, it will assign to the flowvars dot username. So what it will happen, it will create a on fly, it will create a variable. So with the name of username, right? It will create, that was the use of this expression. And then coming to expressions. If there is a message expressions, yeah. This expressions, another one is expression. If you want to keep a multiple variables, you can create that one also, guys. So that will support it. So, and then this expression, last expression is nothing but a filter actually. If you want to filter anything, so from the result, right, you can filter it actually. Out of some 10 records, I want to next level, I want to push condition based, right? So if you write any condition under expression, filter expression, it should not allow it actually. Suppose I want to check null condition, whatever the response I'm getting, the response I want to check it. If you want to check it, you can keep the expression. We'll see that about things later, but as of now, we discussed about the expression. So this is the way to write it. So next one is set payload. So this already you are aware about this set payload. Observe here, guys, in the set payload, what I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to fetch the username. I'm trying to fetch the one more query parameter age, and then I'm checking some condition actually. Observe here. On fly, I'm checking the condition. I'm trying to get the age is greater than 18 or not. I'm checking actually. So that particular condition will give return true or false actually. If the age is greater than 18, then it will give 18, true. If the age is less than 18, it will give false. Right? So that was I'm doing. I'm just preparing that username and age and condition based age. So whatever you are giving the query parameters in the URL, right? So we are trying to read that info. So the next one is file. So there is a new component. So I mean new message processor. It's a file. Sorry guys. Um, so this is a file actually. So this is a file component. You can search for the file component. So what it will do? What was the purpose of this? Suppose in the previous step I prepared that payload, no? So age, so whatever three fields I prepared it, right? I want to store that the three fields in the file format. So then that time we'll drag and drop the file component. So that time, you know, we have to drag and drop that file component. So we can keep the path actually where you want to store that file, right? I just keep a path. You can give it a path where you want to store that file. You can give the file name pattern also in which format you want to store that file. If you're not giving anything, it will give the dat extension, dat extension you need. So if you want to give particular format, that particular format also it will store. So that is about file component. So we'll see that where it will store and then what was the information it was storing. And finally, previous step in the expression, we prepared a variable called username, right? I'm trying to load that variable in the set payload. Observe here. Just now we discussed about the flowvars dot username. No? So that we'll just keep it.
Could you once show that expression? Okay.
I'll just quickly execute this one. Need to pass age also, username, and age equals 25. Just click send button. Should be grade 3. It went previous application. So grade 3, and just click once again send button. These are here. So I can say expression now. I'll just click next step. Observe here in the variable part, you can see the variable now. So username on fly will create a variable mule, right? The value is mule. The next step, you can see the payload. See here mule 25 true. Three values you created now in the payload. So the three values, these are the three values. In the next step, it should be create some file component, right? So where it will create D drive. I'll just look for today's date. Observe here the 7:26. Where is that? It's 8:17. Now the time is 8:17. Observe here the I'm not giving any date format. That particular format, right? So by default it was giving the date format, and again name also it will come like this. So right, I'm just showing in the Notepad++. Whatever the payload now, so it was stored into the file format. I mean in the file action. Okay, so that is about that, the file component. And finally I'll just display that whatever that variable name I put it in the expression, so I made it in the payload I'm trying to display. Hope you guys are clear. So here is two new things. One is expression, another one is file component. So the next one is this one, also same guys almost. So let's go for another one, grade 5 and see. In the grade 5, so introduce a new component called transform, guys. In the transform, so this is a very important, guys. So nowadays most of the conversion parts we are using this transform only. Yesterday, do you remember yesterday, if you remember, for converting purpose I just drag and drop the object to string, right? Why? Because when you are trying to post something, so all previous requests are, it's a get request. Now I'm trying to post something here. When you're trying to post some data, even yesterday also we post one request. So based on the HTTP connector, it will do the buffer input stream actually, right? So from the buffer input stream to convert into string, I drag and drop that object to string, so then it converted. But so now we are using a 3.9.0, guys, 3.9. In 4.0 onwards, the next version is 4.1.1. It's a beta version. People are not yet started. 4.0 also. So they removed completely these transformers, guys. So whatever you are doing is like something like object to string, or else object to byte array, object to JSON. So what they are suggesting, you have to use complete this transform. So there is a transform. So this is nothing but you can call it as a data wave also. Maybe you heard this terminology, data wave. If you are search for the data wave also, same thing will get it. Either you can search for a transform, either you can search for a data wave, it will come like a, so transform will get. So before transform or else before data wave, so there is one more component called data mapper. Search for a data mapper, same thing you are getting. So before transform, before data wave, so there is a component called data mapper. So what was the purpose of the data mapper or else even transform also? We can just now we discussed about one use case, right? So in this use case, you are getting like a create payload, guys, right? Create payload. For example, I will give some fields like name, and then age, and then some, sorry, there is no field in opacity age actually, name, then quantity you can give it, quantity, and then price. Okay, three fields, think like this. So from the input perspective, from the consumer perspective, I'm getting a three fields like name, quantity, price. If you see in the target system, they have a different name actually, naming conventions, maybe opti name, right? And then opti quantity, opti quantity, and then opti price, right? Maybe there is a chance, right? Because there is a two individual systems, two different systems, right? So we are not, so this guy is different, and this guy, there are individual systems actually. The each side they implement like their naming conventions like name, quantity, price, huh? But if you see here, opti name, opti quantity, opti price, right? But how will map it? This field should map to this field should map to this, and then price should map to opti price. Somebody should map it. So we'll take the input, then we have to map it accordingly. So that's what we are, MuleSoft transform will do one thing. Hope you guys are clear. The transforming we can do, that is one thing. Another thing is we can convert. Suppose this guy is sending some XML format. Think like this, XML format, but the target system is expecting some JSON format. He's expecting some JSON format. We'll read that XML, we'll map it. So end of the day, what we can do it. So here we can convert actually how we are expecting output, right? So the JSON format or else XML format or else Java format. So you can give it actually. There is a many MIME types are there. MIME types is nothing but a format. So many MIME types are there. So but that particular type you can convert it here actually. That is the second thing. Another thing is, just now we discussed about this transformers, no? Object to string and all. So we are getting an object to string, right? What format you want to convert it, you can give it. Same thing actually. So that format you can give it. The payload, whatever the payload we are getting that in the previous step, that payload and expected output format you have to give it, guys. So there is a transform. I'm trying to explore about only basic, guys. We have a separate sessions on transform because it's an important concept. We have a 2-3 hours concept. This one we'll explore more on the transform. There is a drag and drop feature also there. So just now we discussed about there is a mapping part, right? There is a mapping part. So there is a drag and drop feature also there here. So there is a many parts in the transform. There is a input, there is output, there is a logic. So as of now, we just explore on the basic level. So here, what I did, so you aware it, right? Yesterday we seen, so whatever the input we are getting from the HTTP connector, it will give some kind of buffer input stream. I want to convert into the XML format. So that's why here, whatever the payload I'm getting, that payload I will give it to the transform. Then I'm expecting this format. So I told clearly to the transform it should give next level XML format. So that was I'm doing there. And then the next one is expression. So observe here, guys, just now in the previous step, so also used expression. So from the inbound properties, I read that particular query parameter I assigned to the expression. Observe here, it will support one more thing. There is a concept called XPath. XPath. So XPath concept. So if you want to read the information from the XML, so the XPath concept will support it, guys. So now the latest version is XPath 3 actually. XPath is the XPath 1, 2, and then 3. So using XPath 3, you can read the data from the XML actually. If you see here, the body, what it is. So the body is in the form of XML. I want to read this username. I want to read this username. So that time, so this concept will support based on the input, guys. So if it is an XML, we'll go for XPath 3. If it is a JSON, so how can I read the data? If it is a JSON, so there is a several ways you can read that. If it is a JSON, so we can convert that into the map format. You can read it, or else from the directly JSON also you can read it. But in this particular case, so in this particular case it's XML, so that's why you have to use XPath3 concept, right? So how we'll get it? So observe here, XPath3, there is a root element is user, and that root element child element is a username. So that's why here XPath3, that's a user slash username. So then it will assign to the username. Hope you guys are clear. There's a XPath3 of root element, child element, like that. So the next one is set payload. Observe here, I was trying to get all the values, user and age and condition based age. I'm just putting into the file, same thing. Observe here, I'm not giving any path also here. In the previous file connector, I just gave some D drive, some folder name, but here I'm not giving anything. If you're not passing anything, so where it will create? So it will create your workspace, guys. Wherever you created a workspace, no? In the workspace, it will create a folder name, and under folder name, it will create that file name. Actually, we'll see that. And then set payload. I'm trying to load that username which is created under expression, no? So that I try to load in the set payload. So that's all, guys. We'll try to hit the request. Let's see. Observe here, guys, how to in the body you have to choose the raw, and then we have to keep the uh, things. I mean, whatever you want to try to post it, then you have to choose the type, actually what type of information you want to post it, either it's a JSON or it's a text or it's XML. So this is the postman client. So click the send button. Go the request. Okay, I want to stop here also to just show you the what format you are getting. Observe here, guys, it will clearly convert into the, observe here. I did not add any top level header and all, right? So I did not add this XML version 1.0 including Windows 1252. So that the transform will take it to add it, actually. It means it was converting into the proper XML format. So then it will convert into the readable format. So, right. So the next one is, let's get loaded in the variable, and then it will store into the file, and then click press on it. If we go and check the logs, it will be the path where it will get stored, guys. Observe here, the file writing under this particular location. This is the location. You can see the logs. 828 it's get created. You can see the AWS. Okay, so that is the data. So that is about XPath, guys. We'll try to explore about the XPath. Next one is, so here we are trying to post some JSON format, guys. So this is a JSON format. Observe here, I'll just choose the JSON format. This is a JSON format. You can keep like this also, one by one. So this is a JSON format, guys. Previous one is XML format. This is a JSON format. So username I'm passing, age I'm passing. I'll just try to hit the request. Before that, I'll just keep a debug here. Observe here, guys. There is a buffer input step. So the input data. So here, yesterday we used, do you remember, guys? Yesterday we used object to string. Now I use a different component, that is nothing but a JSON to object. JSON to object. Observe here, what I did here, there is a return class in the configuration. There is a return class in the object. You can search for this component, guys, JSON to object. I want to convert that in the form of object, actually. So whatever you are posting JSON, so just now we told about, I told about that if it is a XML you are getting, you have to use the XPath concept. If it is a JSON, we have to read the JSON, right? That's why you are giving a provision to read it, actually. We are converting it to the object, so that in the next level, we have to read the data from the JSON, right? So that's why here I put a JSON to object, and then there is a return class, java.lang.object. So then it will be the map format, guys. Let's see in the next step. I'll just click in the next step. Let's see the data format, how it is look like. Observe here, guys, we can see the java.util.linked hash map. How it will convert? How it will convert? Because of that, whatever you are giving return class as a java.lang.object, so then it will convert into the mapped format. Let's search for the payload. See, this is a payload. It is nothing but a linked hash map. So suppose if you want to fetch a particular value from the payload, dot username, right? or else payload of square bracket, let's say 0, C1. This is what actually if it is a multiple records, then you can see it twice. But here I can see this is not array list actually. If it is an array list, we can fetch the 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever the square bracket is now, we can get it. But this is not an array list. So I can see linked hash map format. In the linked hash map, two entries. One is this 0, another one is this. Okay. So that is the thing. Actually, this way you have to convert into the mapped format. This is a one way, guys. There is other way also there actually. You can keep that linked hash map directly here actually. Here I mentioned java.lang.object. Now you can keep it directly linked hash map also. In place of object, in place of lang also not, you should remember. Java.util.linked hash map, if you keep it, that will convert into linked hash map. Right? So that is the thing. I just converted to that part. Now see here the expression directly, it's simply calling like payload.username, right? Payload.username. So means this should be, the payload should be in the form of a map. That time only you can get it actually. We are simply passing the key, then we are getting the map. Our remaining steps same, guys. So we are doing storing into the payload and storing into the file format, and then finally display that expression part. Okay, so any doubts? So how to read the JSON we seen, how to read the XML we seen, how to hold the data into expression we seen, and then how to store information into the file to your local path, or else a remote path you can give it. So any questions, guys, as of now? This is about Mule
Hi, Venkat.
expression. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Actually, you told like XPath 3, like user inside username. If you want to find, if it will be three means or three or five users, right? In that XML. So how we
Yeah,
will get that?
yeah, good. So that time, we have to use the transform. So you mean to say how it will look like then? So here, if you see, so it will come like a, so one more like this, right? This will come three times. You understand, no?
Yeah,
This will
right,
come three
right,
times.
right,
That
right.
time what we can do is, I will show you if you want example. I'll prepare it and I will show you. So then we have to use the transform. Okay. So that time, it will come like a collection. It will come like a collection. So here, so that's what actually, that's why in the transform we can achieve many things. So here there is a concept called map here. Okay, so we can read that one by one user, and we can assign it actually in the loop. We can read it actually. Okay, so that time XPath 3 we can't able to use it, only single user can use it actually. But in case of multiple things are there, we'll use transform, we'll iterate it, we can do it. Hello,
Yeah. Okay.
is it clear? So we'll do that, guys, that we can achieve it actually in the transform we can achieve.
Okay.
So any other questions, guys?
And one more question.
Yeah.
You're telling object to string we can do with transform message. Like
Yeah.
how means we need to mention application string over there, or like it's mentioned application XML right now, right?
Hmm. So here many types are there. You can keep it a Java, or else JSON also nothing but a string only. You can keep the JSON also, or else I will show you all the MIME types.
How would we know
You,
which
you,
are the
you
different
can,
type of
yeah,
MIME types
that,
available?
that's
Just
what. Each and every component, the list is there. You can keep a text also if you want to string format. You can keep the text. So I will show you that a list of MIME types. Each and every component of the list of MIME types are there. So there is a drop down is there. No, you can look for drop down. There is application CSV, Java, JSON, Express. These are all MIME types. So each and every component have this that facility actually, MIME type facility. You can expand it. You can see this is what there is. So this expression you can read the through file also, external file also you can read it. And variable also there. I'll just drag into the variable. Most of the components have that feature actually, that MIME type feature. See here, in the variable also you can see here what format you want to convert into next level. So if you are aware about that, in the expression you can directly mention here application slash text. Also you can look for any component, so you can see the list of supporting MIME types. You can use that. Is that clear? You can keep a text actually, or else JSON also, it's kind of a string only. So any other questions, guys? So hope we are good. So
This transform message, if you want to write complex logic, what is the language that we generally use? Because like if we look into other tools, we have
DW,
xquery wherein we specifically write xquery. So what
DWL,
is it here?
DWL. So whatever you are going to write the things, right? It will convert into the dot DWL actually. So it will support whatever
Okay.
we discussed Mel expression, no? So that will it will support actually
Right.
whatever we are writing here. This will internally convert into the dot DWL actually. It's nothing but a data wave extension format actually. But
Okay.
so Mel expression only will write it actually here.
Okay. So all the syntax in
Yes.
this goes is ML expression.
Exactly, exactly. Mel expression, or else it will support the some kind of sometimes suppose Mel expression is not suitable. On fly, I want to find
Oh,
out the date, or else I want to call some function, right? Externally,
right.
global function I will return. I will write. I want to call that global function, so that we can do it here also. We can call the global functions, we can write the mel expression. So sometimes it will support the java syntax also, but it won't support inside of the mel express, inside of the transform. Outside you have to write the java syntax. We can call that into the dw actually, the data frame. Understood, right? But internally it will convert into the DWL. So that way it will. So we can write it here, or else you can prepare a outside one DWL file SR main resources. You can load that file also here. So we'll see that in the
So,
we'll discuss about.
is there any link for the documentation of these things?
So that I will
Because
share
any
you.
IBM or Oracle products, we generally have a very clear, detailed documentation.
Mhm.
So do we have anything for MuleSoft?
Yeah, we have the documentation. The documentation I will share you. So after the session, I will clearly share the 200 pages documentation. You can go through it.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, sure. Thank you.
So thank you guys. If you have any other questions, then you can ask.
No, no, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. So I'll just wind up the session, guys. I'm going to wind up the session. So if you have any questions, then you can ping me in WhatsApp also. So we'll connect tomorrow.
Yeah, quick, last quick question.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know, I might have missed or overlooked it.
Mhm.
How are you? Because there are so many specific flows.
Hmm.
So how is it that you are specifically invoking greeting flow 6, greeting flow 5
Uh, it,
because of the debugger?
no. If you remember,
Uh,
so same I told actually the configuration is same, but path is different actually. If you see here, here is the great one, right? But
oh,
if you see
okay, okay,
that
okay.
way, you have to segregate it actually. Here is the same, but so in the path it's vary. Otherwise, we have to create multiple HTTP connector configuration. Same component, if you
Right.
see in the global elements, component it's not there. So configuration is same, but only path is different. That's all.
Okay. So you are Postman, the path is different. So
Exactly.
for some, you're having greet 1, greet 2, and so on.
Yeah, you can see here.
Right. Okay. Yeah, got it.
So okay, thanks guys. Thank you so much. We'll
Yeah,
meet
thank you
again.
very much,
Yeah.
Venkat. Yeah, bye.